you doing, guys? Today we're going to install the lifters and the camshaft into the Magnum 16. One thing that we have to be mindful of is because we're taking basically this K361 cam and adding it or putting it in the Magnum 16, it is a different camshaft from a different motor. So I need to make sure that we set the clearance of the camshaft or the end play of the camshaft to the appropriate clearance. Now, according to the Magnum book, if we look at the, where is it here, camshaft, and we see end play, come over, it says 5 to 10 thousandths. So in order to do that, I'm going to put the camshaft into the motor loosely, and we'll go from, and then I'll explain basically how I'm going to take a look at that. Okay. With the camshaft loosely affixed into the engine block, basically I just took the pin, the cam pin, and pushed it through so it would just start to seat on the other end. So that way I know it's pinned straight in the block. The next thing is to get my feeler gauge, and this little space that you see right here, let's see if I can get that a little better, right there. That's where the cam shims are going to have to go. They go on the bearing plate side of the block. And I'm going to measure this to see what my spacing is. And I'm going to take my dial calipers and measure out some of my extra shims I have here in order to get to that 5 to 7 thousandths clearance. Okay, so after a little back and forth with the feeler gauge and measuring my shims with my dial calipers, I've settled on those two shims to be used. And the reason for that is it was 7 thousandths clearance, which is right between the 5 and the 10 that we need to be. So that should be all set. Next is to make sure these lifters or the tappets are squeaky clean. I will put a little bit of white lithium grease on the, I guess the shank of the lifter just to pre-lubricate it. I'm going to leave this dry as well as the top of the valve, which you can see down in there. I'll leave that dry because ultimately we will have to set the valve lash, and then once that's set, I'll squirt some oil on the ends, and that should all work out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lubricate these, drop them into the bores. Then I'm going to get my camshaft. I'm going to use a high quality assembly lube, engine assembly lube on the pin and on the cam, because that actually needs automotive assembly lube. So I'm going to lubricate all that up, line it up with my shims, and drop it all into place. Okay, so I got the camshaft in. Sorry about the lighting. And my shims are in place. They're right here. We have 7 thousandths clearance, 7 thousandths end play between that. Actually, it's there. You can just barely hear it. It's all been assembly lubed. I got my Lucas engine assembly lube. And now I'm going to set the cam pin. And the way to do that is I'm going to get a little punch, big brass punch. And I'm going to drive it from the bearing plate side to the PTO side. And when you get your gasket kit, inside the gasket kit should be one of these little things, this little Welch plug. This Welch plug goes right here. So basically we're going to set the cam pin deep enough where this plug will be completely flat or flush with the side of the block. All right, I'm going to just get that set, and I'm going to put in this little plug, and I'll show you how it all looks all finished up. And there we go. The camshaft is installed. I have everything pinned in. It moves really nice and smooth. You just want to make sure that that happens. You don't want no binding. So it's real smooth. We have the end play set to 7 thousandths. I set the cam pin with this drift punch and my hammer, very lightly tapping it in. I didn't go crazy pounding the hell out of it. I did set the pin in the block before putting in the little Welch plug. So I got it deep enough in there where it was good and seated, and then I took the little Welch plug, put it in there, tapped it in. I was lucky in the sense that my punch actually fits inside the Welch plug real nice. So that's it. camshaft is installed. Unfortunately, when I installed the camshaft, the timing mark is on this side. Oops, on this side of the gear. So we will have to spin it around and open and close the valves. But next up is to install the crankshaft, or at least set the crankshaft end play. And I'll do that in another video. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Comments, anything you'd like to add, that'd be great. As always, please subscribe if you like these kinds of little projects. As always, have a great day. Thanks, guys.